Welcome, welcome. We are beyond thrilled to have you today. We know that everyone's days are extremely busy, and we are very excited to, as the panelists and I were discussing just a little bit ago, hold space with you. So thank you for taking the time and the energy to be here. I am the co-founder and CEO of Female Founder Collective. And if you don't know what we are, we're a platform for community, resources, and education for global founders. We're really excited to be shining a light on some extraordinary women and to be doing it in partnership with Capital One today. I am here with Teresa Beto, who is the Vice President of Community Impact and Investment. And we're going to be talking today about how we can continue to advance Black founders and entrepreneurs. We know it's been an extremely hard past year and then some, but we know that there's been an uptick and we want to continue to see that momentum forward. And so this is really going to be a conversation in order to do just that. But I'm going to kick it over to Teresa because I'm sure she has a few words as well to sort of talk about how we're going to continue the conversation forward.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for that kind welcome. Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa Beto, and I am a Vice President in Capital One's Community Investment and Impact Group, focused on supporting community-based organizations that engage, empower, and lift up small business owners across the country. Here at Capital One, we are committed to supporting small business owners and understand just how challenging the last 12 months have been for so many of you. Just last week, a winter storm raged through Texas, and many, including one of our guests today, experienced unforeseen challenges. And we are deeply, deeply grateful that you are joining us today. As I understand, families and communities are still recovering and impacted. As women in business, there are so many hats you are wearing and so many responsibilities to juggle. It can often feel overwhelming with no end in sight. I want you to know that we see you. We see your hustle and your dedication to push through, to not just survive, but to thrive against the odds. Please know that I am personally encouraged by many of you and your desire to bring much needed products and services and innovation to ensure that our communities can continue to thrive. So today we are thrilled to discuss what balance and self-care looks like and how our panelists invest in their businesses, in themselves and their communities. At Capital One, understanding how to best support you, business owners, is really critical to what we do. And that comes to life by partnering with organizations like the Female Founder Collective and being part of Small Unites, a national advocacy effort inspiring consumers to prioritize shopping with small businesses. We're also focused on expanding economic opportunity, especially for Black and Latinx communities, through the Capital One Impact Initiative, a $200 million 5-year commitment to support growth in underserved communities and to advance socioeconomic mobility. We know we have an important opportunity to support small businesses and to help them be more resilient and successful. Getting to spend time today learning and gaining inspiration from this incredible panel of women is really special for me. And I hope you will all feel motivated by their stories, their ideas, and the experiences that they'll be sharing. It's a great pleasure to now turn it over to my wonderful teammate and colleague, Toria, who will now moderate today's session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Teresa. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Toria Edmonds-Howell, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Capital One. And in my role, I manage Capital One's 1717 Innovation Center, which is a collaborative workspace really focused on supporting entrepreneurs and their ability to learn and innovate together. Outside of supporting Capital One's work in the community, I'm the founder of North 24th, which is a small business, relatively new, that produces small and safe, non-toxic products that capture the nostalgia and joy of cleaning on Saturday mornings. As an entrepreneur myself, I know that the grit and courage needed to run a business and the importance of community and self-care on that journey, which is why I'm so excited to jump into today's conversation. With us today, we have three amazing fellow entrepreneurs and all-around phenomenal women. Krystal Duhaney, who is the founder of Milky Mama, Danyel Surrency Jones, who is the CEO and co-founder of Powerhandz, and Lalah, founder of Vibrate Higher Daily. So first, I just want to start by thanking you all so much for being here with us today. And I want to just jump into the conversation because I know you all have so much wisdom and experience to share with us today. So the first topic that I'd like to jump into is empowerment. This concept of seeking empowerment, taking next steps to entering into entrepreneurship. And so each of you are in the health and wellness space and have made space in your industry, not only to empower yourself, but your audience as well. And I want to take it back to the beginning of your journey and better understand how you gained the confidence and the sense of empowerment to take that leap into starting your own business. So my first question for you all today is, how did you seek and learn to embody empowerment?
I guess I'll kick it off. This was a big topic for me. Danielle, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This was such a huge part of me not stepping forward before because I wasn't empowered, but I knew that I had the calling. I felt the gifts, even if people would recognize the gift in me, but I didn't see the power. I didn't have the power. I didn't feel I was strong enough to do it. And so the only thing that literally gave me power was to do it even with the fear, making mistakes, the failures. So I just say, fail your way into empowerment, like just grow into the empowerment and just know that that fear and then feeling like you're not ready or even qualified, it's all a myth. Like once you do it, you're gonna start feeling empowered. You're gonna start meeting your team, your new tribe, and even the people that are gonna come into your lives because of being courageous are gonna empower you as well. So that was my step.
Awesome.
And I will just like you, right? When I think about my journey as an entrepreneur, I had no clue that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I thought I was going to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 medical device company because that was my path for the last almost 2 decades. And when I think about my mindset, when I decided to jump, right, that empowerment piece is so huge because when we think about empowerment, it's really about how you celebrate your own potential. And a lot of the times, right, when you're used to going down one path and then you move to the next, you really don't understand your stretch potential for that next path. And that was me, right? And so once I jumped and realized that since I had that lemonade stand at 5 years old, that I was developing all these different skills to be an entrepreneur and run my own business, that's when I gained the confidence and I gained my own power back by validating myself over and over and over again when I lost my confidence, not just in the beginning, but throughout the journey, even 6 years into it today, I have to validate myself and be my biggest cheerleader in order for me to feel empowered.
Wow, I love that, Danielle. That resonates I resonate with that so much. Your story is similar to mine. I was a registered nurse and I, was hoping to move up the ladder to become a nurse administrator at one of the largest hospitals in the world. And when I started my business, I second guessed myself. I was like, why do I deserve to be successful? Like, that's too much. There's no way. I really kind of downplayed my dreams and felt like, that's not me. Like, I'm just going to be a nurse because this was my path. This is what I went to school for. And this is what I had envisioned for my life. But as my business began to grow success, I still struggled with that fear of the comfort, being uncomfortably comfortable in the situation that I was in. But once I jumped, like Danielle said, and I took that initiative and realized, why don't I deserve to be successful? Why does someone else deserve to be successful and not me? And really instilled that confidence in myself. then it was easy for me. Not saying that it's easy to be confident, because I'm sure, as you guys all know, that it's not, that every single day it's a task, and I need to show up for myself and show up for others and kind of, hype myself up every day. But just empowering myself and just being aware and present, and just keeping my own personal and mental status in check is what really keeps me empowered to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So as a follow-up, I'm wondering, now that you all have, quote unquote, overcome those initial steps and the obstacles related to reaching that sense of empowerment, how do you keep that momentum going? How do you not slip backwards and lose some of that confidence that has guided you to the point you're at now?
So I'll start that off because I want to be very transparent with the audience, and I think Krystal hit on it, right? So there is a myth out there that once you become an entrepreneur and once you reach a certain point, that you have arrived and that you are always confident throughout your journey. Well, that's not true, because a true entrepreneur, you're innovative in multiple phases. Once you reach one milestone, then you're going to the next milestone and then the next milestone. So from that aspect, you're always going to go through this ebb and flow of confidence, and you have to seek it every single day and every step of the way. And when you seek, right, that confidence, and you seek your own power and you own it, that's how you get through all of the no's, right? That's how you break the barriers of the statistics that are standing in your way. That's how, as a Black woman entrepreneur, you decide that I can change the world, even when the world is telling me that I cannot change it, right? So it's really seeking it every day. And I'll tell you, I can't wait till Lalah has this session, is seeking it and having gratitude in everything that you do, even when life is just throwing you all these obstacles and curveballs and you feel like you can't do it. You have to stand in your purpose and your mission, and you have to affirm yourself and realize that you can do it, that you were uniquely placed on this earth for a reason to bless people's life. And once you flow into that passion and that purpose, you have to hold on to it and never let it go. So that's my ongoing journey. And that is a daily journey of seeking that affirmation and confirmation of my own power and purpose.
I love that, Danielle. And I start every single day with gratitude. Before I even it's really hard, but before I pick up my phone and check my emails or see what's going on for the day, I start every single day with gratitude, because it really sets the tone for the day, so that no matter what is thrown at me that day, I started it with gratitude, and I know what I'm grateful for, and I know what I'm working towards. And that really kind of keeps me in check. Because like you said, it's not just, okay, now we've made it and we're good and we can sit back and relax and just enjoy all of this. No, it's a constant challenge. And for me, the confidence it comes in levels. Like, okay, I had the confidence to start a business, right? Now I need the confidence to hire employees. Now I need the confidence to, ship orders and to show my face to customers. And it's just these constant challenges that you're dealt with, that you constantly need to kind of, hype yourself up for. So having an amazing support system, if you have one, and really just believing in yourself. That's the only thing I can say, is just know that there is no reason on this earth that anyone else deserves to be more successful than you. Like, there's no reason that you don't deserve success. There's no reason that you don't deserve to have what you want. So just don't limit yourself, and don't think that something is out of reach, because then it becomes out of reach. I know it sounds silly, but it's really how I live my life. Anything that I want, I can work towards. So keep that in mind, be grateful, and stay confident, and reach out for others if you need help.
Lalah, my next question is for you specifically. I know you are a best-selling author, and as someone who follows you on Twitter, you certainly have a way with words that inspire. And so if you were to write a book on empowerment, what would your recommendation be as it relates to kind of that first step?
Yeah, it definitely would be to, like the other women, Krystal and Danyel were saying, to just believe, affirm yourself, confirm yourself every step of the way. You have to be your own marketing department, your PR, like all the things that you'll eventually need. Like you really have to be that first. And then even like to bring your spirituality into it, because the thing that I always say for empowerment and for entrepreneurs is you have to become a devotee to this mission, to this work. Not just this is something that you're waking up doing, but you're a devotee. And when this becomes a devotion every day, you know that you're doing it for a higher purpose. And I would recommend anyone to read this book called Turning Pro. Some of the panelists may have read it, by Stephen Pressfield. And it talks about the difference between an amateur and a pro. The amateur quits a lot of the parts where the pro will keep going. And then you just have to wake up. You have to see yourself as a pro when you're the amateur. And that's what a lot of entrepreneur looks like. You have to just really, I deserve to be at the table. My name deserves to be on this list. I deserve to be on the panel. You really have to just, and this is a lot of metaphysical, spiritual work, but that's what entrepreneurs, whether you call it that or not, you're working with this energy in the universe, this force that is always around us. And if we tap into this force, we're allowed now to go even further than we can by ourselves when we're like, I'm closed off and I'm alone. No, you have this invisible force, the same force that is helping Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey is here to help you as well. And I know that there's there's steps to get until you're actualized in that, but just the way the subconscious mind works, and this is a magnetic universe, is if we really tap into these forces as part of our team, our daily team, is that we can go further. So that's why my book, Vibrate Higher Daily, discusses all of these topics, these themes, about reaching a level of empowerment. I say in my book that your wellness journey is not complete until it includes how now you'll take your healing, your wellness into the world and help the world vibrate higher as well. And that looks like your creative works and all the things you do in the world. And I just want to shout out Tori. Is it Toria?
Yeah, like Victoria without the bit.
Easy. Okay. Thank you. And my name is pronounced Lalah. I get Lalah all the time, but it is Lalah. And I think you did pronounce it right. So yeah, I would say that definitely has been the number one thing that through empowerment, the subtitle of my book is Live Your Power. So ultimately, like any path that you're on, may it lead to your empowerment. That way you're able to show up fuller in the world and more confident and standing in your worth, which is so important.
Also very important. And I really like the concept of that mindset shift. So even as an amateur, thinking of yourself a pro. So I'm definitely taking that with me today. Want to shift a bit and talk about building Black wealth. I know one of the conversations that I've personally been a part of over the past few years is this idea of generational wealth, especially in the Black community. And for many Black Americans, especially those who want to become entrepreneurs, systemic barriers can get in the way of pursuing that dream of owning a business. So can you all talk with us a little bit about how you address ideas of building wealth as it relates to your own business? And specifically, if it took any mindset shifts or a shift in your relationship with money?
Yeah, for me, it did. I remember, growing up as just a teenager and a young adult. And it really started with like when I got my first credit card. I got my first credit card thinking I can buy all this stuff and just take forever to pay it off. And that's life, right? But I didn't realize that I was building up interest and being charged so much to buy this thing. So now this purse that I bought is now probably $500 more because of interest. So when I started my business, and I didn't have capital, I didn't have investors, I didn't have, a family that came from money that could really invest all of this money to get me started. I really had to find out ways to be smarter with money and to bootstrap it. So I started with my initial investment of $300 from my personal savings account. And I bought my first set of ingredients, baked some cookies. They turned out wonderful, sold them to local parents, used that money, and just kind of constantly just replenished and never, ever took a loan out. And as I did that, I realized how empowered it felt to be in control of my finances and not have to depend on anyone else to fund my business. Not saying that loans and such are not a good idea, because again, if you can get help and if you can get a low interest loan, then it can be extremely beneficial. But it really changed my entire mindset on not only running a business, but also like how I manage my household finances. So now I'm teaching my children what I should have learned when I was in school of how to properly manage your money, how to, not use credit cards to pay off things over time and hopefully make your credit cards work for you by earning points and all of those really cool things, and how to start saving and how to invest, those types of things that really would have helped me. I don't know about you guys, but it really would have helped me as a young adult to get off on the right path instead of making some of the mistakes that I know a lot of my, friends and colleagues made when they were younger adults. So being a business owner has definitely helped me learn more how to manage money and how important it is to manage money and to be mindful of spending, and also know when it's okay to borrow and to really analyze interest rates. So it really kind of opened my mind to things that I didn't consider before that I probably should have.
And I love that, Krystal. And you think about, our background, and I don't know if it's the same for all of you on the call, but I come from my parents were married for over 22 years, got a divorce. And so my mother is a single parent. I'm the youngest. I'm the She really raised me, right? And she was an educator for 30 years. And my sister was at FAMU in college. My brother was in the military, and she was doing the best she could. So from a conversation standpoint in regards to finances, and then how that goes to the extreme of finances roll into your P&L, that conversation was never had in my household or my community, right? So when I think about answering that question, I think it's twofold, right? It's what can you do for yourself, and then what can society do for you? And so the first thing that I think that you can do for yourself is, just as much as we love that CEO title and to put that on our Instagram page, we need to love the CFO title. You get a team around you, of course, a contract CFO, a CFO that's full-time, a director of finance, et cetera, that is helping you manage your business, but you need to know and understand what your profit margin is, what your operational expenses are, how to read your P&L every single month, really understanding how your business ebbs and flows. What are the seasonality? When you need to increase your prices, when you need to give a promotion and how that affects you, when there are shipping charges that come in from an international standpoint and you may need to alleviate that shipping charge by raising your price for a penny. There's so many things and nuances to your business on the finance side that can either make you or break you. So that's the first thing that I would say you got to do for yourself. And then this piece really is near and dear to me when it comes to what society can do, right? When we talk about building wealth, and we're seeing it today. I really think that what Capital One is doing, how Female Founder Collective they're leaning in, society can lean in. And that means big businesses, right? Fortune 100, 500 companies, large businesses, they can lean in with progressive small businesses, and they can share their core competencies to help them excel. Because when we do that and we lend our expertise, share our expertise, then we help the largest segment of businesses, which are our small businesses, rise. And when we're able to help our small businesses rise, that's how our economy rises. And when we invest back in the community from an innovative standpoint, from a financial standpoint, then that's when the culture rises. So I have to make sure that we're all clear that it's just from a totality standpoint, it is our responsibility to lean in, and it's society's responsibility to lean in. We're here because we earn and then we return. And when you're able to connect those two together, that's when we make brilliant, brilliant innovation and decisions. And again, our economy rises.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was so good, Danielle.
I'm just passionate about, and this is what we're doing. So
yeah, no, I felt that passion, and I just would add a third option, because everything Krystal said and Danielle said was so important. And what I heard is what my story was, is like, what was your money story growing up? And I know that we all have a different money story growing up, and that's going to be challenged when you become an entrepreneur. Your confidence in investing or your confidence in knowing that you can support yourself, that the income will come, the customers will come, is all based on your money story. How were your parents with finances, with money? Was there any lack that you saw? Were your parents tight, bless their hearts? Were they not? Were they very generous? So I think that that's a discussion when we bring our wellness into the conversation of finance, of what did I see and where do I need to heal? What is some work that I can do through reprogramming my subconscious mind into believing I'm worth making the money, the 6 figures, the 7 figures, the million figures, whatever that is for you, to believe that. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in that little sticky place of and some people it's a quick sticky place. Some people they stay there for years, even, of like, can I charge for this? How much do I charge? Am I worth it? Who will pay me? So I think that that's an important place to heal as an entrepreneur, because when you come to any meeting, when you put up anything, the energy behind you, your self-worth, your money story, as that changes and expands, is going to really land with people a little different. You just show up at the table more confident when you believe you're worth it. You're worth whatever dollar that is. And don't be afraid. There's many times, starting out when I was just like, I'm just going to throw a figure out there. Like, I have no idea what to charge, how to charge. And you'll learn. Yes, maybe I was out of the ballpark sometimes. Maybe it was like a low blow to myself, but laugh your way through it. That's why I say, like, just have fun while you're doing it. Fail your way to success. And then I would just say, as a takeaway for helping you to restore your money story, look into hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, anything that we can dig deep into the subconscious mind, because that's what holds the patterns that you saw growing up. And then have what a great friend of mine, Lacey Phillips, calls is expanders around you, women who are making the figures that you would like to make, who do have the money story. Like, that's amazing. And then see these women so that the subconscious mind can see something other than the story you saw growing up. That this is the new signal, this is the new message, subconscious mind, and then it'll help you to manifest it into your life.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I love that as well.
So good.
So powerful.
This work is so real, right?
Well, and Lalah, I utilize a lot of those in my life. I don't know about you, Danielle, but like that, it sounds hokey like to other people, but I'm like, this is what worked for me. Like, I just one day said, you know what? I'm going to start a business and I'm going to make my first $1 million, or I'm going to open a bakery. I'm going to do these things. And everything that I said happened because I believed it. Which is why I say, like, I felt like I deserved it, and that's why it happened. I mean, of course I worked towards it, but you just have to believe and like really change your mindset when you're building a business, because your mindset can really determine, your path and your successes and your struggles.
And that's to that point, I was going to piggyback and say, what you just described is directly related to how we're able to start our business and then scale our business. Because as women, we tend to ask for, if we have to fundraise, the least amount, because we don't understand our worth. We're scared to present a figure, right, where we have all the analysis in place and someone can come with a napkin and write down their figure and have much confidence without an MVP and get the funding. So what you just described is the absolute key to us being able to start that business with a stronger foundation, because we're asking for our worth up front, which will then pivot us into scaling more effectively. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
And hello, I am a case study for that. And now
I'm like everything Danielle and Krystal said, yes, like totally. Yeah, it's like a formula. Like you just, some formulas are, no matter like where you come from, you have to go through these rites of passage, like rites of passage. And that's just, like you say, no matter if it's like sounds hocus pocus, like, oh, this is that movie. No, it just really works because the universe we live in, I'm going to talk from vibration, like my work I do, but you call it whatever you want with your own path. But it's like, there's energy, there's force, there's magnetism where we live. And
Yeah.
why we're attracted to certain people, where we repel certain energy. But if you can learn to work with it in every aspect of your life, even money, it is just powerful. And know that you're using this, whether you realize it or not, every single day.
Yep.
Right? So you might as well.
Yes. For negative things too. Like if you find out, like if you're like, I can't get there, my business is struggling, and you're focusing on your business struggling, you're going to continue to struggle.
Absolutely.
Focus on success. Like say, you know what, we're good. We're gonna make however much we're gonna make this month, or we're gonna have this many new customers. Focus on that and believe it, and stop focusing on the struggles or the debt, because that is what you're attracting. So whatever you focus on and put your energy on is what you're going to attract to yourself. So focus on positivity and being grateful. It sounds silly, but it is, and it's very difficult to always focus on positivity, because it's kind of very difficult, and to not really think about struggles and debt and those things that really kind of fog up our lives. But if you can change your mindset and really start focusing some of those positive things and what you envision for yourself, you'll start seeing some good things happening.
and
So I know that we have, a number of people on the call with us today who are really ready to take action and take those next steps to just progressing within their journey as business owners or prospective business owners. And I really liked how Lalah kind of framed all of this as a formula. So if you all were to kind of summarize the best way to take that first step, so that first piece of the formula into building wealth, what would your recommendation be to everyone listening today?
I would, just as far as just to know that there is a formula. And and this is the great thing, like in my book I talk about you being the chemist of your life. So just know that what works for Danielle may work for you. What works for me may not work for you. What works for Krystal may not work for you, but find your formula. Like there's a formula. That's the thing, right? To know. Now maybe bits and parts will work. And then again, don't judge what doesn't work. Just say, I'm the chemist of my life. Like the chemist in a laboratory does not take anything personally. It's just peace and like, oh, okay, I just learned, I'm observing what works, what doesn't work. Certain compounds together are toxins, certain compounds together are solutions. And so just really trial and error everything, and just know that if from a bottom line, if I can just do my work on, like Krystal says, and I know I'm not trying to we're not trying to spiritual bypass and tell you to be positive 100% of the time, but I mean, just to keep it real, you kind of have to get gritty sometimes and just like, I'm not allowing any of this to get to me. And this is just a place that you build up as an entrepreneur. It does take time, but there's just certain things, once you've been on the path for a while, you grow this muscle, these emotional muscles. And I often say, like, nothing grew my emotional muscles more than becoming an entrepreneur. It was just like, because you go through every emotion, you're dealing with other people. But then again, to support you, part of the formula is the meditation, affirmations, spiritual work, all of that is going to help you become a better person for your work, and work on your belief system, as Krystal said, because what you believe about yourself is what you're magnetizing towards you. So are you magnetizing people who believe in you, who will invest in you, or are you believing in people who are kind of like, sketchy, I don't know, because that's what we're believing in ourselves. So I just say, find your formula and make the foundation, just really focusing on the positive, even though the negative may be there at times, and doing the things that help you vibrate higher daily, like I talk about often, that help you support you through the lows and the highs.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say, how do you define wealth?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, starting there, because if your definition of wealth, when we talk about generational wealth, is all about I'm chasing the dollar and how many zeros that I can get, you're probably going to crash and burn, right? So when you think about wealth and generational wealth and what you're leaving the next generation, I want to make sure that I leave the next generation nuggets about mental health. I want to make sure that I leave the next generation a clear understanding of what peace and happiness really is, right? I want to make sure I leave the next generation a formula, as Lalah says, in regards to being able to build your own business and create your own innovation and have your own patents. And what does that look like, right? But it is that full self-actualization of what wealth is that I think is the first start for you, because once we're at peace with that and we're balanced at that, as again, piggybacking off of Lalah and Krystal, that is going to help us get through those moments in life when we're going to ebb and flow, because it is going to happen every single season. I don't care if you're at your highest point from a business aspect, you're going to be tested with your personal life. You're at the highest point in your personal life, you're going to be tested with your own self-care, right? So you're always going to be in transition. And again, if you've made a decision as to what wealth looks like for you, and it's just not one aspect of a dollar, then I think that's the first key and start for me.
So many business owners, especially Black women, go into it thinking, I got to do this on my own. I got to conquer it all on my own. And I see a ton of this narrative really being pushed, especially kind of that narrative that harps on grind culture and never resting, never, taking a break or taking time for self. So that leads me to our next kind of point of discussion. That's really cultivating a community and a network to help foster, your business and your success in that space. So I want to hear from each of you about whether or not you fell into the I have to do it all mindset.
I definitely did. And I don't know about you guys, but I was raised, my mother and father lived in the same home, but I was raised by my mother, who instilled in me that you need to be strong and you need to be independent and don't ever depend on anyone. And her mother taught her the same thing, and it just passed on from generations to generation. So when I graduated high school, I needed to be strong and I needed to be independent. When I started my business, I needed to be strong and independent. When I got married, look, I love you, but I'm strong and independent, right? So when I started my business, that was the idea that I had, that I needed to do everything by myself. I was the marketing manager. I was, the baker. I was customer service manager. I was everything. And it wasn't until I started feeling the physiological and mental, emotional symptoms of that I was like, okay, like this isn't working. Like I got vertigo. I got shingles at 30. I don't, what 30-year-old gets shingles. I had, anxiety and bouts of depression, and I couldn't figure out why, because I never experienced that before. And it wasn't until I sat back and thought that, okay, I need help. I can't do this all by myself. So I built a team and a community. And once I did that, and once I delegated, and once I started working smarter instead of working harder, is when I knew I had a business. For me, working hard in that grind, to me, that was a side hustle. I had a side hustle. I was working my nursing job, with my side hustle, baking cookies. Once I was able to build that team and I could leave my job and work smarter and have systems in place, now I had a business. Also with taking it into consideration, my mental and physical health, and really doing a lot of self-care and starting with gratefulness and meditation and yoga and everything to make myself a priority instead of, as a lot of us Black women do, making everyone else around us a priority and putting ourselves all the way down at the bottom of the totem pole. When I was able to make myself a priority and delegate some work and really take some of my time back, is when my business grew exponentially, because I could focus on me and really kind of clear my mind and have the time to focus on growing my business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I would come in from the angle of like what I definitely have experienced so often. Mine was the heaviness of being a visionary, because when you're the visionary, it's like you, even the smallest details, you know how you want those done. And I remember for me, not having anyone around that even knew what I was talking about. Like I literally, my first website, like I had to build it. I had to do like all the things. Like literally, I was like a one-woman band. And you have to do that sometimes. And I think that I definitely want to offer the advice of, if you do have to carry it alone for a season, if this is you right now, to continue to do the wellness work that allows you to access more of the vision, more of the creative downloads, and as well as, remember, there's input output, to make sure that you are doing more to decompress, because like Krystal said, there's psycho emotional, definitely things that you'll feel from working all week, having to do 5 different titles. You're answering emails, you're on the Zoom, you're the personality, you're the content creator, you're the editor, you're the whatever it is. So just know that that may be the case for a lot of huge iconic visionaries and inventors and you, right? But you're not alone. And just know that most of what you're carrying is the weight of your gift, is the weight of the vision. And just know that the perfect people will come about. Like I've invested in marketing teams, and my personal experience is that it was just bad investments. I never got the return back. The team could never perform to the level where I saw the vision. And I was like, wait a minute, I was just here. What do you? How much? Because I just was tired of doing it myself, like Krystal said. And then when that became a bad investment, to where they were like sitting with me like, well, can you help us do it like you? So my website that you see, a lot of my content creation that you see is just me. Like I had to learn how to code. I had to learn how to do all the things. And granted, like fall back on all the random things that you've done in your life. Like their chances are that you've already been qualified for like all these jobs that you're looking to put people in place of, or into place. But I just think that if this is you, like has been me so many times, just do the things, call out for your support community. When it is time to get help, you'll know it, you'll feel the weight, you may feel agitated, there may be irritation, there may even be, just too much stress to deal with. But I just say, remember, it's always okay to scale back if you need to take some time for yourself. This is not a race, it's a marathon. And just know that, your vision is holding space for you. It may feel like you have to keep up with people with the algorithm, but just take your own time. And that's really been my heart-centered model with my business, is to do everything on my own time. Even if it looks slower, if you see other people, doing the things, having the wins before you, just be encouraged and slow down where you need to slow down. And by all means, be encouraged to go faster when you need to go faster, but do the things around you that support you if you have to carry the vision by yourself for a season or two, which is your self-care, your therapy, maybe massages, all that is part of the business, and it should be part of business time as well, not just self-care time. Yeah.
Awesome. So in this stage of you all's career, I'm sure you've hit a stride, and especially as you think about building a team, community, that network of support around you to help you through kind of the ups and downs of business. So could you all kind of talk a little bit about how you've gone about building a support network, and how you recommend others kind of take those steps towards finding trustworthy and supportive teams and communities to support them in their business?
Yeah. So and I just said this a couple of nights ago at a dinner, choose the people that choose you, right? So when you think about your support network, right, and the people that are at your rescue when, oh, I've got to make it to this meeting and my child is sick, and they recommend that I'll come home, I'll come to your house and I'll help you out with that situation. Or from a business aspect, right? Those that choose to do a warm introduction and they don't ask for anything, but they simply want you to get ahead. create an ecosystem. And this is what I have done, right? I forgot about the people with, who may have a big following, or people that I thought I wanted to be friends with, or those who I thought, right, would make my brand look better. And I'm just being very transparent with you. And I really have created a network of women and men in my life that genuinely care about me. They genuinely care about me from a holistic perspective, from a business perspective, and I care about them. And we feed off of each other. We feed off of each other's energy. We feed off of each other's missions, and we support one another genuinely. There's no envy, there's no jealousy. We're very transparent. We stand in our truth. We cry together. We celebrate together. And that's, I think, what is so important as a society. I think we get so lost in the vision of what we think it should be, right? And you just be real with what feeds your soul and your heart and supports you. So I choose to be around the people that choose me, and I choose to give them my time and energy and pour into them. And I will, again, I have to give a shout out to organizations like Female Founder Collective. It's an example, right? I said yes. I'm very busy today. I said yes because you choose to give back to women and pour into women. So I want to be associated with what you're choosing, because that is great energy. That's building generational wealth, and that's expanding where I want to go as a woman, and where I want my legacy to be.
Love that, Danielle. I think that is so true. And it just really brought to my mind of like, everyone cannot have a front row seat at your show. And as I was building my business, I learned that along the way, that a lot of the friends or colleagues that I had previously associated with didn't deserve a front row seat at my show. You can't bring everyone with you. There's not enough seats. So you really have to be selective with who you choose to associate with, who you choose to invite into your little business circle. So surround yourself with people that are more successful than you, that you aspire to be, but that also share the same values as you. And not just for vanity metrics, like how Danielle was saying. You really want to invest in and spend time with people that really, really do honestly care about you and your success. Because, and sometimes that's not always easy to decipher. I don't know if you had to go through that, Danielle, but sometimes it's tough to figure out who really is there for you and who really isn't. So be very selective, on who you invite into your circle, because that can really make or break your team and make or break your success. So keep that in mind. Everyone doesn't have to come with you. Some people might not even get a ticket. Some people might be stuck in the parking lot. So keep in mind that, your show's exclusive. Think of it as a Beyonce show. Everybody can't get in. So keep that in mind.
That's right.
And I would just add to create a culture. What does the culture of your business represent? What's the tone? And whoever you do allow in, are they comfortable with the culture? Do they represent the culture well when they're at work and when they're in the world? And this for me, because I'm a devotee to this work, I'm looking for someone who is just authentic to the work that they say they want to do in the world. So that way that when they clock out, it's not that they become someone else. I mean, go have fun, go turn up, whatever that means to you. But at the same time, there's still a way you carry yourself in the world, that you're a representative of what this culture means. And for me, just having that in mind for a team is everything. And then again, like Danielle and Chris were saying, that support community is going to be very key. And maybe the support community isn't traditionally a part of the team, but they're an extension of the team, because this is who you go to. They empower you, and then when you leave, it's like maybe it's a mastermind, maybe it's a group of other entrepreneurs, the Female Founder Collective, but it's just this team of people who speak your language. And then even within that, there's a culture there that helps when you go back to your own. It empowers you.
So along the same lines of building and leaning on a community to help you out, that leads me to kind of this topic of allowing yourself time and space to rest and recharge. So can you all speak a little bit about your journey in kind of that space of navigating resilience and rest, and how you balance rest alongside being a business owner?
Ooh, that's a heavy
We
question.
all have that same reaction.
Yeah. Okay. So rest.
Go ahead, Krystal.
What is rest, first of all? But no, realistically, it wasn't until probably late 2019, after I'd been in business for several years, that I determined and figured out what rest even was. And that really came back to making myself a priority, and really, when we talked about earlier about empowerment, is empowering myself and realizing that I matter too. Because every time I would wake up, for my kids or my husband or my business, I had to have it all together, or at least appear to have it all together, even though inside I didn't. And I would just keep burying that until I started feeling some of those, again, physiological and emotional symptoms that I hadn't realized before. So it really just comes to know that my time and my personal rest, even if it's just 10 minutes here and there, between calls, is business time. I need to be okay to run this business. If I am not okay, we are not okay. So realize that I stopped feeling guilty. I stopped, making myself feel bad about taking the much needed time to rest, and realize that it was what was needed for me. Because I'll be completely transparent. I have never been as stressed out and as, bogged down and dealing with so much until I started a business. So once I started a business, my needs changed. So you have to really kind of know what your needs are, know what stage you're in, and really be aware of your emotional and physical health and well-being, and really listen to your body and listen to what it's telling you. If your body is telling you to rest or to stop for a minute, then do that. I promise you. Even if you're in the middle of a meeting, take a minute, because it will come back to bite you in the end. So make yourself a priority. Your business needs you to be okay. Your family needs you to be okay. We all need you to be okay. So make yourself a priority, because you matter.
I will take a deep breath before I answer this question so that I can be as transparent as possible. This is an ongoing struggle for me. As women, I think that we wear the resilience and being a vision chaser, right, as a badge of honor. And at the end of the day, right, I want to make sure, and this is how I reprogram myself and refresh, I want to make sure that I am moving as a creative based on purpose and not chasing shiny objects. Because you can, as innovators, we think of ideas in our sleep. When we wake up, when we're brushing our teeth and looking in the mirror, they come and they flow, and you can get on this train ride where all you're doing is occupying your space with stuff. And then you get so crowded and you suffocate, and Krystal, then you start breaking down your mental health, your energy, your ability to connect with your family and friends and connect with yourself. So what I'm working through right now, and which is why for Q2 is a perfect example and a takeaway, I have one-on-ones with my team every Monday, right? Well, I've switched that to every other Monday. And now we have our strategic objectives that are listed where they can provide updates. I have Thursday check-in calls, huddle calls with my team. Well, Q2, I switched that. So now I'm having Zoom calls once a month with them, right? Because it's so important as business owners for us to make sure, I think we both said this before, that we've got to be working the vision and moving the company forward into the next. And when we're bogged down with all these other things, we're not able to do that. So that's really, let's not chase the shiny objects, and let's really evaluate, ask God, how can we move with purpose?
Yeah. And I found that if you really create, again, as the formula, if part of this needs to be part of your formula, which it probably does, is what do I feel like? What does success feel like? Does success feel like being rested, being able to decompress and recharge without the guilt aspect? And a lot of times, the change of guard has happened. The feminine energy is completely taking over the business world. And so, and coming within that is, just the climatization of the new energy. We flow, like we go according to a moon cycle. So we're patient, but we can, again, take in some of the old programming from men, from the patriarchal aspect of business where, get rich and die trying, all of that, hustle harder. Like, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to get rich and die trying. I just that is not my life. That is not my reality. But I just made it like one of a very successful Black entrepreneur I know, like Miriam Hasnett. She has a saying. She says, "I'm a professional napper. Like, this is part of my business day is to take a nap." There's the nap ministry now. I think I saw that on Instagram. But in all aspects, like rest is just so important. We know that resting helps the body to repair. Rest helps the mind to decompress. Helps your energy decompress, discharge. And then also once you rest, you actually go through all the different levels of brainwave states, which means that by the time you wake back up, your brain has rested. It has fully went from delta, the alpha, delta, theta, beta. And by the time you wake back up, this is why you wake up with new ideas, new visions. And when your rest is fragmented and not full, you feel foggy. And it's because your brain hasn't had enough time to recycle and fully go through the natural pattern. And so if you can allow yourself to rest, and what does rest look like? Rest means, lowering the lights in your room, turning off your devices by a certain time. Usually they say 30 minutes is a good time. And then there's I would say just do your research, but really having the awareness that the blue screen that comes on your computer and your phone, that triggers the part of your mind that is aware and alert and ready to be active. So if you can switch to the rest mode on your phone, the warm screen on your screen, there's a Flux app. It's free for everyone on FLUX. And it helps you, depending on your time zone, it'll warm your screen for you. And this helps you have better rest. It's even good for the skin. But just know, what environment do I need to create for rest? Maybe saying not having my laptop if you're going to be, tempted to check emails and hear the notifications, or maybe have notifications off. But just knowing that in order to really be a full channel for the work and for the vision, you being rested is the best that you can offer. And then clear thoughts come when the mind can be rested as well. A rested mind is a very creative and a very empowered mind.
Beautiful. Before we hop into audience Q&A, I would love if you all could just shed some light on your personal self-care routines, because I think it ties into kind of this concept of resting and recharging and rejuvenating so well. So would love to hear from you all a little bit about your personal self-care routines.
So I will say that my self-care shifted during COVID. So where I would normally have on that list getting my nails done and getting my toes done. I don't think you want to see them right about now, because that's not important to me. What is important to me is, and this is something that I do. So you talk about, Lalah, that guilt. This is something that I do to ease my guilt from a parenting standpoint, as well as enrich myself. Every morning, my daughter and I, we do affirmations, and I make her repeat the affirmation, and then she has to come up with her affirmation that she wants me to repeat. And when I tell you that it does something for me, and empowers me throughout the day to know that I have deposited that into her, because I see that shift in her mindset from, I don't want to wake up in the morning because I'm not a morning person, to I am feeling good and positive about myself because I should. And knowing that I'm doing that for her as a mother, is incredible for me, because it's going to offset those times when I don't get to read with her. I don't get to do all the things that I want to do with her because I'm working so much as a businesswoman trying to build legacy. And then for me, it's depositing into me, and it's completely shifting my mind and preparing me through the day. So the affirmations, and again, sharing that with my daughter, my 7-year-old, is huge for me.
I love that. I'm a mom too, and it's like giving me all the feels. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my previously during COVID and before COVID, my routine was get up, get the kids out, go to work. Since COVID, I've learned to be more aware and more present. So I wake up in the morning, I start with, before I even look at my phone, I again start with gratefulness. I say thank you to, whoever you believe in. Thank you to the universe. Thank you to God. Thank you for my life. Thank you for opening my eyes. I really just start with gratefulness. I usually start with meditation. And when I started meditating in the morning, I noticed that my kids would wake up and come in almost instantly. And I was like, first I would get kind of annoyed, but I was like, you know what, let's do this together. So my husband, if he gets up in time, and my kids, we all sit and start our morning with a meditation session. We might use like a singing bowl or just some words of affirmation, or it's just music. And we just start our day with gratefulness and just being aware and just really clearing our minds and allowing our day to start on a positive note, because things are trying right now. It's difficult right now, and it's stressful, especially I know for my children. And then I start just, I might do yoga, and I really just focus on not only my internal like emotions and really kind of keep those in check, but I also focus on externally, what am I allowing into my body? I've started eating better, paying more attention to what I put into my body, staying more hydrated, those types of things, to really, really make myself a priority, because I can honestly say that this is really the first time that I've ever done that. And it feels really good. And just to take away that guilt, like Danielle said, of like making yourself a priority, has really allowed me to be a better mother, a better wife, a better business owner, a better person, a better daughter, in all aspects of my life, to make myself a priority and just really allow myself to show up for everyone else.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'm resonating with both of you, and I'm a mother as well. And that's, when you're a parent, it's like you just have like the time that you set for yourself is a boundary. It has self-care, and it's okay as a parent to say, mommy has boundaries, and within my boundaries, that's going to look like me taking time away and taking care of myself. And it says in my book, sometimes you have to go be away to come back and be better. That solitude is sacred, and solitude is one of my self-care tools. It's a place I love to put myself in the desert, and in my desert, I'm free. If it's bathing time, if it's walking on the beach, if it's in nature, I just get alone with myself. That way I don't have like anyone to talk to, like any projections, because as mothers, we're always trying to fix and nurture and remedy. And even if you're with friends, like maybe there's just the stimulation going on. So just doing things for me that allows my mind to really drop into like an alpha brainwave state, which is like the meditative state. When you're in nature, just taking a walk, when you're at the beach, when you're meditating, you're in this alpha state. And then like right when you wake up in the mornings, you're in this theta state. So again, right when I work with brainwaves a lot, as you can maybe tell. So when you wake up in the morning, you switch from alpha to theta, and theta is like the most beautiful time to journal. And then again, maybe there is work, but at this point, it's like self-care and work together. It's the most awesome time. And maybe you all know about this, but it's called the God hours. A lot of people call it this, that you're most creative between the hours of 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. So a lot of times my self-care means that's my spiritual time, that's my creative writing time, and it's before anyone else is up. So yeah. And so
I need to wake up earlier then.
Right. Wake up early, right? If that's the boundary at that time. And just know that sometimes, the family will try to impose on the boundary. But on those days, like Thich Nhat Hanh, a Zen Buddhist master priest, often says that sometimes the distractions have to become a part of the meditation. So that we're trying to just erase them all the time. Okay, well, on this day, and maybe it's for a week straight, the baby is fussy, or the husband really needs drawing on you more, or maybe it's a friend, a sister, a daughter, whoever it is distracting you when it's usually your time. Then maybe I just bring that into the meditation. I have hope. I'm holding space and compassion and gratitude for whatever this is. At the same time, still holding my peace and equanimity and center. And even that in itself, I would say the last thing I would offer for self-care is just knowing that no matter what's going on around me, I can still, through the practice of equanimity, which is a Buddhist tenet, hold my center in the midst of any chaos, anything going on in my life around me, that I'm still in my center, that same place that I was when I was in the bathtub or doing my meditation on the walk on the beach. I can still be that. And a great idea for this, for people who would, maybe need a figure, is maybe Krystal, you, first responders. First responders know how to show up in their equanimity and just show up in skill. You're just showing up from a different place of service. And sometimes that's self-care too, in the midst of working.
Yeah.
Yoga is definitely a part of my personal self-care routine, and my yoga therapist ends each class with the mantra, when I am well, we are well. So I just want to thank you all for committing to your personal wellness, which enables you all to continue to pour into the community through your businesses and just who you all are as people. So we're going to shift to audience Q&A right now. And the first question that we have is, what resources did you all leverage as Black women building a business that were the most helpful during those building stages and help you to grow your business?
I would just say number one, hands down for me, was affiliation, networking, really, and as Black women, transparently, let's just keep it real. Let's just go there. We're in a safe space. We are taught historically to see each other as competition, and our people even amongst each other. And if we just know that we're not competition, and just find your sister circles, build your sister circles, put your sisters on. And it was sister friends of mine, like, Lauren Ash from Black Girl in Ohm, Erica Chitty-Combe of Loom, Miriam Pasta of New Earth Mystery School, just a lot of these beautiful women, even Queen Afua, the master teacher healer. It was working with a lot of other women who also had platforms, who also were growing. We would have mastermind calls, or we would just help hold space for each other on each other's platforms. I just think that it's so easy. It's absolutely free. And it's a great way to support other women who look like us, and to exchange audience, and just know that, by pulling my sister up, it's helping, my life be a little more strengthened as well. Nelson Mandela just comes to my mind when he talks about, we can go further together. So I just think that's, and just if you have any of the, just the movie Mean Girl is coming to mind when they're like, no, you can't sit with us. So just having the mentality that, yes, you can sit with us, of course. I just always have room at the table for another sister friend who looks like you. And maybe if she's a little traumatized from being compared and going through the trenches of being a woman in a competitive industry, welcome her in with love and just let her know it's all good. It's all love here. I think that's important. And that's been my, I would say, one of my biggest attributes to reaching where I've gotten to.
Krystal, you want to go, and then I'll go?
Sure. So I didn't have very many resources. I don't know about you, Danyel, or Lalah. I really kind of bootstrapped it myself. I would say one of the biggest resources that I did have, though, was my family. My husband is the most supportive person in my life, and he really took a lot off of my plate and really supported me in a way that allowed me to grow my business without feeling guilty. Even when I made myself feel guilty, he was always there. So he was really supportive. So I would say if you can find a support system to start with. Additionally, when I started my business, I made sure that I had some ducks in a row. So making sure that I set up the basics of business, like, my business licenses, and making sure that I had my tax filings and my LLC, if that's what you're going with, and an accountant so that I could get off on the right foot so that when it came to tax time, the IRS wasn't knocking at my door because I didn't know I needed to pay taxes. Those types of basic things I would recommend. So if you don't know about that, check out with your local small business association and they will guide you through that entire process, because that can really be a make or break situation. And it's so, so important. I see so many other fellow Black business owners that are just starting a business and selling stuff, and then they don't realize that, hey, you got to pay taxes on that, or you need to do these certain types of things, or you need a license for that, or you need this, or that's a copyright or a trademark violation for someone else's brand. So just making sure that you have the basics of business. So I guess the Small Business Association is probably one of my biggest resources, secondary to my family support.
And I agree like you, which is why I kind of, I was the and I passed you the ball. But from my aspect, I'm starting to lean on resources now. We built, Powerhandz in a sports space, a fitness space, and a rehab tech space where we created a blueprint, right, where it did not exist. And being a woman in that space, a Black woman in that space was challenging. So I did have that, I'm going to figure this out myself. But I also then quickly learned, because I believe that people buy from those who teach. And so from my ecosystem perspective, when we were building out our portfolio, we really leaned on people in the industry. And so I would say from an advisory board standpoint, it's very important from a business aspect when you're building your business, the people that you choose on your board and your advisory board, they should be able to get you into rooms that you can't get into. They should be able to teach you things and add value to your business and knowledge that you don't have. So that piece from a business aspect is very important. And then, from a personal standpoint, I'm like you, Krystal. I mean, my husband and I started the business together. So it is part of our ministry, being co-founders, starting this business together and walking through that journey. He has been one of my biggest supporters throughout everything. He's allowed me to be who I am and to use my voice without fear, and really to push me into being an entrepreneur when, again, I was going to be a corpreneur for the rest of my life. So I'm very appreciative of that. And then sisterhood, oh my gosh, I am learning, and I have that guilt complex with that too, because I'd rather be a giver than a receiver. And so for my sisters, oh my gosh, my sisters that are entrepreneurs, I have such a passion for making sure that I'm supporting them and wanting their voice to be heard. And I'm doing all this work to hopefully pull them at certain tables that they haven't had access to. So finding that ecosystem of women that are struggling like you, to those that have arrived, right? To those that are on the same journey as you, that piece is huge. And I think it was either Krystal or Lalah that said it earlier. Make sure you're choosing those that have the same value system. We may not act the same, look the same, want the same things, but a core of who we are should be the same, or you're going to feel a disturbance in your energy, and you don't want that. So that piece of the value system is very important when it comes to your ecosystem of women and men that sit at your table.
So we are approaching kind of the end, but I did want to ask one last question of you, Krystal, that came through the audience Q&A, and really is just speaking to what are some of your success habits, things that have really helped you to get to where you are today as it pertains to being a Black woman, a Black female business owner.
So my success habits, and again, these are probably ever evolving. I'm probably always evolving new habits and realizing what works and what doesn't. But what's worked so far is, like I mentioned before, like we've all mentioned, gratefulness and mindfulness, and really keeping my mental and what I'm projecting and what I'm attracting in check. And also like using criticism or failures as a learning tool instead of using it as, this was awful and, everything's going down, crashing and burning. And it's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try this next time. And always changing situations that are potentially awful situations into a situation that I can use to grow my business, or a lesson that I can learn or that I can teach someone else. And also just always being grateful and realizing that my team and my community is the key to my success. So making sure that I lean into those things and lean into those that are offering support. You know that I can't do it all by myself, and just realizing that and accepting help and not feeling guilty. I think that was one of the themes of today too. Not feeling guilty about accepting that help has really allowed me to open the doors to much more success.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I want to thank you all for being here with us today, for sharing a bit about your personal journeys in being Black woman business owners, especially within the wellness space, and dropping so many gems to help empower all that were listening today, myself included. In the spirit of today's theme of celebrating Black excellence, celebrating Black wellness, Black entrepreneurship, we definitely want to end with some affirmations. So I'm going to turn it over to Lalah, who's going to lead us through a guided affirmation. And I'm really excited because I have all this good energy from today's session. So to just seal the deal with the affirmation is going to be perfect. So Lalah.
Thank you, Toria. Well, I would love everyone just to hug yourself, because you sat through and took a lot of information in today. You just took time to give to yourself today. And this does need to be recognized. It's the small things that sometimes we can overlook, like, oh, I just went to a meeting today. No, you poured into yourself today. You allowed yourself to be, you allowed yourself to be in a place of receiving. You had your hands up, and allowed things to receive. So I would love for us in this moment to seal this time together, to just end with affirmations. And the key thing about affirmations is that we can say them, but when you say them, if you can also feel them as well. So whenever I recite an affirmation, you can say it out loud or you can just say it within. It's both going to go into that subconscious mind. And but maybe if you want to close your eyes and visualize what you look like reciting each affirmation as if you were looking at a projector in your mind. But when you feel it, that's when the magnetization really goes into power boost and it gets real in your life. So that's why we always want to be careful of what we say, but also what we feel. We're feeling beings, and a lot of our manifestations are based off of what we feel, including fear. So that's why fear is such a powerful magnetic force. So in this moment, we're going to use gratitude, compassion, and self-love to really draw in and feel into that. So feel into the affirmations as we get started. So just take one deep, cleansing, grounding breath. Each time you breathe, you are detoxifying, but you're also grounding. So as you're detoxifying and grounding, being aware that you're in a safe space, you're in community of women who are supporting each other and who are supporting you. And just repeat or recite within. I am worthy of support.
I am worthy of support.
And feel each affirmation. What does feeling worthy of support feel like? What does that secure feeling? What does that reassured feeling feel like? See if you can add that into the practice. One more time. I am worthy of support.
Worthy of support.
Yes, and maybe that even feels like gratitude. I am a sovereign, creative being.
I'm a sovereign, creative being.
My ideas are worth the world seeing.
My ideas are worth the world seeing.
My ideas in creation help the world.
Ideas in creation help the world.
I am supported in my environment daily. I recharge and compress daily.
And compress daily.
ritualize my joy daily.
My joy daily.
Good things are being prepared for me now.
Good things are being prepared for me now.
I send love to my success.
I send love to my success.
I send gratitude to my success.
I send gratitude to my success.
I send appreciation to my younger self for getting me here.
And appreciation to my younger self for getting me here.
I send gratitude to my future self for drawing me there.
I send gratitude to my
To your future self for drawing me there.
Success is in my future.
Success is in my future.
Success is in my present.
success.
Success is in my present.
Yes.
I am a powerful woman.
I am a powerful woman.
I vibrate higher daily.
I vibrate higher.
Vibrate higher daily.
I live my power daily.
Live my power daily.
Just take one more cleansing breath, a breath of gratitude. Feel yourself centered, grateful for your own energy and for the energy field that this has created today. This collective space has created an energy field around you. And may it add to your life. May it stick to your energy field and may it empower you forward. We created an energy field that we can all draw on moving forward, so we're all connected. This is a great thing about energy and community. And may you continue to, as the first part of my book says, page 1, she remembered who she was and the game changed. Thank you. Now I will hand it over to the amazing Rebecca Minkoff for closing remarks. Rebecca, I think you're muted. Yeah, you're muted. Okay.
Every time. Wow, what an incredible talk that you guys gave. The values that you shared, the education, the examples you all have set as leaders are beyond incredible. So I know at the Female Founder Collective, we are so grateful that you gave your time today to share this with so many women who need that boost, need that lift, need that just change of mind and perspective to continue going on. So Danyel, Krystal, Tori, Lalah, Capital One, we cannot thank you enough. If you loved what happened here today, be sure to tune in. You know, we're about to launch an exciting membership component to the FFC, as well as a big event at the end of March. So sign up to hear more. And we really cannot thank you ladies enough. Our goal is to really empower women with education, with community, with opportunity. And that was definitely achieved today. And you are all exceptional. So I hope this sends you off in a positive, fully powerful mood. And you just kick the rest of this year's, you know what. So thank you.
Such great energy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much. Honored.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.